Are you looking to up-level your manifestation practice or just create a manifestation practice? If so, then this is the podcast episode for you because this week I'm going to be sharing with you how I've been able to make my dreams go from just being on paper to reality using the power of the moon and the lunar cycles. I've been doing this for the past 4 years and it has been a game changer for me. So let's dive in. Welcome to the Get Empowered podcast. My name is Erika and I am a mindset mentor, personal development junkie, holistic health advocate, and lover of all things spiritual. At the Get Empowered podcast, I'm here to help you overcome limitations, step into your power, and create your dream life. I've spent the last several years healing my mind, body, and soul and have learned so much along the way. From healing trauma to navigating a sober lifestyle and learning how to step into my personal power, it has been transformational. If you're looking to heal, to be inspired, to uplevel your life, and to become the most empowered version of yourself, you've come to the right place. I created this podcast to help you know you are worthy of rewriting your story, to help you navigate your own empowerment journey. You are worthy of living your most authentic, aligned, and inspired life, and I can help you get there. Whether you are diving deep into personal development or just need a weekly pick-me-up, I've got you covered. Thank you so much for pressing play today. I cannot wait to transform together. Let's get empowered. Welcome to the Get Empowered podcast. Your host, Erika here. And this week, I'm going to be sharing with you how I use the power of the moon to manifest my dreams into reality. It has been a game changer for me in the past 3 years, going on 4. And I cannot wait to share that with you because it is really just something that has absolutely transformed my life. So first, though, if you are new to the podcast, I always share something I'm grateful for. And this week, I just have to say, I am so, so grateful for all of our friends and family who have extended warm wishes to Kyle and I for our engagement last week. I cannot believe I got engaged 8 days ago. It's crazy. I still kind of look at my hand and I'm like, what is this ring doing there? I still sometimes accidentally call my boyfriend when he's my fiance, but he has done the same to me, so we are even. And I'm just really, really grateful. We got such an outpouring of support, and it just means the world to me. Our families have been great, and already my mom has been really helpful when it comes to like wedding ideas and like the very beginning stages of planning. So I'm really, really grateful for that. Also, this episode comes out on Thanksgiving. So I just want to say how grateful I am for each and every one of you. You guys mean the world to me. And I just have to encourage you to spend today and every day just taking a moment to say out loud or even just internally think about what is something I am grateful for today. Having a gratitude practice has completely changed my life. And that is one reason why I like to start the podcast episodes with it, because gratitude will change your mindset. And I just love it. It is so important. Actually, last year's podcast episode was all about gratitude. So if you want to learn more about how it can actually change your life, I'll put it in the show notes. But I just absolutely love it. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you for just all the warm wishes, all the nice thoughts and comments on our posts on Instagram. If you saw the pictures, he did such a good job. I'm still not over it. It was such an emotional, beautiful day for me. And I'm so, so thankful for everyone who was a part of it. So yeah, that's what I'm grateful for this week. So what am I loving this week? Well, y'all know that I'm a podcast person. Obviously, that's one of the main reasons why I started a podcast, because I love to consume many podcasts. And one of my most recent podcast finds is the Brides podcast by Betches Media. I listen to a couple of their podcasts already. I listen to Oversharing and then I listen to You Up, and I've been listening to You Up for years. It's so fucking funny to me. And I was like, you know what? I'm a bride to be. Why not listen to the Brides podcast? And I have to tell you, it's been very interesting. It's been very informative. There are so many things with wedding planning I would have never even thought of. And I have to tell you guys, even though it's been literally 8 days, I'm already pretty freaking overwhelmed by all the different things you need to consider. Do you want an outdoor wedding, an indoor wedding, a big wedding, a small wedding, eloping? Like, what do you want? What are the things to think of? And they just answer so many good questions. They have so many different episodes on different topics. I already know it's going to probably be one of my top podcasts for the next year or however long I'm in this wedding planning process. But I just absolutely love it. I'm so grateful for it. So if you're a bride to be, or if you know someone who is, Send them the Brides podcast by Betches Media. You will not regret it. This week, we are going to be talking all about how I use the power of the moon to manifest various things into my life. It has helped. I joke all the time that I manifested my relationship with Kyle, that I've manifested money, that I've manifested career opportunities. And honestly, all these things are true. I mean, I talked about it last week, and I even realized more so how true it was after I hit record and after I published the podcast. So it gets a little more update on that. I was like, I actually did manifest my dream proposal. I mean, my nails were even the color that I wanted them to be when I got engaged. And so this is such a powerful tool, guys. Manifestation is fucking real. I have so much evidence of it in my life. And if you are a little overwhelmed on where do I even start, like how do I start manifesting? What does this look like for me? You know, everyone has different ways to manifest. And if you look at your human design, it is going to give you an indicator on if you're a passive manifester, an active manifester, a specific or a non specific manifester. And I am both a passive manifester and a non specific manifester. So, what that means is I am someone that needs to be more in the energy of what I want to manifest, as well as like this has been very difficult in the wedding planning process. Actually, I'm struggling to like have a vision. I don't really know what I want. I just know how I want to feel on my wedding day. I know kind of the vibe and the aesthetic I'm going for, but I've never been someone that's like, I want a garden wedding in June and at this location. Like, that's just not me. You know, that is not me. Not saying that that wedding type isn't for me, but then just knowing what exactly I want is not true. Like, I've never been that person. I'm a little indecisive, to be quite honest. And I think part of that is one, because I have a sacral center. So for me, it's just if it's not a hell yes, it's a hell no. And that is based off my human design. And if you want more info on human design, let me know. I can definitely help you out. But I just have realized that the moon magic practice for me personally is the perfect way to manifest. And I did learn this from Shani Thompson and her moon magic course. So if you're looking to invest in a course, look up Shani Thompson's moon magic course. I do not know when the doors open again because they are not always open, but it is a game-changing course for me. I have been doing this practice for just over 3 years now because I started in the fall in 2020. And it has changed my life. Like I said, I've manifested money. I believe I manifested my relationship with Kyle, my proposal, my new job that I got about a year ago now. And because of that, I want to help you guys just take the basics and learn how to apply it to your own life. And so a lot of you might be like, how the fuck does the moon have anything to do with manifesting? Well, especially for women, and that's not to say this doesn't work for men, it does, but especially for women. You know, women are cyclical creatures, right? We work on 28-day cycles ish, right? Well, so does the moon. The moon has a cycle that is approximately every 28 days. We end up in a new zodiac sign, right? So right now it's currently Scorpio season at the time of this recording. And so when we have a new moon, it is the beginning of a new lunation or a new lunar cycle. And so from the new moon all the way to the end to a new to a new moon is a lunar phase. And that is approximately 28 days. Okay. And so every time that you enter into a new lunar phase, it is going to highlight a new area of your life. And so what I do in my moon magic practice, when I look at the new moon, I see what zodiac sign is it in. So the last one was in Scorpio. The next one is going to be in Sagittarius. And I like to set an intention at the new moon for the next 28 days. And it has been a really beautiful practice. And so why do we do that? Well, the sun lights up the theme. It lights up the characteristics and the qualities of that zodiac sign that we are in, right? And if you know anything about astrology, you have a sun sign, a moon sign, and a rising sign. And just like in our astrological chart, it's also true with like the moon and the zodiac themes. And the sun really is like who you are, right? Where the moon is more that internal, that emotional nurture, internal part of yourself, right? Or your emotional nature, where your sun is more of like your outward expression from my understanding of it. And I'm not an astrologer, okay? But that is what I've gathered over my several years of just being in the astrology world. And then your rising sign is completely different. And from my understanding, your rising sign is more of like how you come across to people. So Again, I'm not an astrologer, but that's not super relevant to this course. But essentially, what I'm saying is every 28 days, if you are following a moon magic manifestation practice, you are able to set a new intention and then use that intention and the different phases of the moon to help you manifest it into reality. So, right now we are in Scorpio season. We will be in Sagittarius season at the next new moon. And what I love is we follow the moon cycle. So, let me just pull up my calendar that I created. We have various moon phases and various zodiac signs. So, as you can see in the calendar I created, this is last year's. The newest version will actually be releasing on Thursday. So, the day that this podcast come out, it will be releasing. And I am going to have a Black Friday sale for the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday after that this podcast releases. But as you can see, there are 12 zodiac signs, and each zodiac sign has different themes that they focus on. So when we are in the new moon, now you don't have to follow this, right? But it can make it be a little bit more powerful. You can set an intention for that next 28 days. So for me, actually, right now, I'll just get like vulnerable with you guys. I set my new moon intention in Scorpio around money, especially with Kyle and I getting married in the next year or two, just wanting to get my stuff in order, especially before we potentially combine or whatever we end up doing with our finances as a married couple. So I set my intention around money. And that was just the theme that resonated for me in the Scorpio season. But there's a couple themes that you can do per zodiac sign, but at the same time, if that's not what lights you up, that's okay. Or if that's not what's coming up in your life, that is okay. We just tend to find that when the sun is hitting that zodiac sign, it is just making it more and more powerful, right? So it's a really powerful time. But as I was saying, there are 8 different moon phases of the lunar cycle. And so the first half of the cycle is going to be the waxing phase of the lunar cycle. And the second half of the lunar cycle is going to be the waning phase. So there are 2 parts, the waxing and the waning phase of the lunar cycle. And then there are 8 individual moon phases and 2 different energies that the moon can be in. So you're like, okay, this is a lot. What the fuck does this mean? So first we have the waxing phase, and that is the first half of the lunar cycle. That is from the new moon until the 3rd day of the full moon. And as you may understand and may be able to visualize on the YouTube, I'll put a picture up, the moon is increasing in size. So when we set an intention at the new moon for that first half of the lunar cycle, typically it's going to represent increase, as well as different things are going to come to fruition in accordance to your intention that you set. And it could be a lot of different things. So for example, a couple years ago, I set an intention for money and I unexpectedly got an extra athletic training job that ended up paying me double what it was supposed to pay. So not only did I end up getting this athletic training job kind of out of nowhere, it then paid me double what I was expecting. And so that was it coming to fruition, right? And sometimes it's really obvious like that, and sometimes it's not. But that doesn't mean that it's not, quote, working, right? But what I love about this practice is you have to be very intentional, and you can sit down with the various moon phases and do different things that will help you to manifest it. So I have this in my calendar in my workbook. So if you really want to learn more, I would go there because it can be a bit confusing just speaking it. I'm a bit more of a learner by reading and by doing. But essentially, we have these 2 separate parts, the waxing and the waning. So as I said, the waxing is when the moon is increasing in size, and that is from the new moon until the 3rd day of the full moon. And that is going from you setting your intention to things coming into your life that will help your intention start to come to fruition. Now, the 3rd day of the full moon up until the end of the lunar cycle, and when we get to the next new moon, is called the waning phase. And that is the moon decreasing in size. So the waning represents decrease, right? But it also is when we start to see the lessons of our intention. And it's kind of when hindsight is coming in. And it's when we're putting these pieces together and seeing like, oh, this happened. And this is where I'm saying it's not always as obvious as, oh, well, was trying to manifest money and money came out of nowhere. That sometimes is what happens. But say you're trying to, I don't know, manifest something in your relationship. And it may be a smaller thing like, oh, my partner and I went on a really great date night and it made us feel way more connected. And the second half of the lunar cycle is really when you're reflecting, when you're looking back and you're seeing, how did it come to fruition? And again, sometimes it's not as obvious. So when you sit down and you look at it, you're like, oh, it came this way and this way and this way. I had this opportunity given to me at work, which made me have this conversation, which made me think this or this or this. And so it's just a really beautiful and intentional practice. And like I said, so there's the two parts, waxing and waning. But now there are also 8 different phases. You have the new moon, the crescent moon, the first quarter moon, the gibbous moon, and the full moon. And that is going to be your waxing phases. And then you have the disseminating moon, the third quarter moon, the balsamic moon, and then ending again with that new moon. And that's going to be the waning. So I absolutely love this practice because all these different phases can bring up different things. And again, I go through this in my calendar. I made a new moon I made a zodiac calendar to help you learn how to manifest based on what I learned in my course. So I'm giving full credit to Shani. She is the one who taught me all this. And I wanted to take just the basics of what I learned and make it just digestible for you to do in your everyday life. So, like I was saying, let's just go through a new moon practice. There are different energies of the moon as well. So there are going to be being phases and doing phases. So there's the yin and the yang. The yin is when you're being, when you're reflecting. And then the yang is going to be the doing and the making and the taking action phase, right? And so this flip flops about every 3 days. So you have the energies of action and the energies of reflection and being. And I have found, especially as a woman, and I don't want to speak for men, but I have found, especially as a woman, that tapping into this also really aligns with my cycle, which I find interesting. But giving yourself these periods of time of more action and then periods of time of more reflection naturally has led me to be way more intentional and less likely to burn out. So I have found so much power in doing this. And the main reason I believe this works, and from what I've learned from Shani, is because you are being very, very intentional every single day. And again, this may sound very overwhelming, but one of the biggest things you can do is just sit with your intention every single day, just for even a minute. Say that you set an intention to manifest weight loss or something. If you just sit with your intention for a minute a day and you are thinking about how you set the intention to have a body that is full of vitality, that feels so good to be in, that has full of energy and all that stuff, right? Where you just feel so confident and you really think about what would it feel like for this to come to reality? How do I feel it in my body? Where do I feel it in my body? Do I feel it in my chest? Do I feel it in my toes? Do I feel it in my head? And just sitting with it for a minute, I really do believe that is a huge part of this practice, is just the intentionality and then the reflection. So I absolutely love it. And now I was saying how, okay, different zodiac signs have different energies. And again, I go through all of this in my calendar, but let me just give you a couple examples. So Aries. Aries is the first sign of the zodiac calendar of the year, right? And Aries is where it's very focused on making decisions, starting projects, focusing on your leadership skills, very take charge, that fire energy, right? And then we have let's go into Cancer. So Cancer is a water sign that's going to be more nurturing of yourself, nurturing of your family, nurturing of your home. So maybe you're wanting to create more nurturing within your home, or you're trying to make your home environment, maybe make the energy feel more nurturing or something along those lines. Or maybe you have a project you want to work on in your home, or maybe you want to focus on your relationship with your family. That would be a great time to do an intention, is during Cancer season. Now, again, you can set intentions at any time. You really can. And you don't have to necessarily follow what the zodiac sign is. It's just those tend to be more powerful. Now, let's look at Virgo, right? Virgo is all about organization, health, home, money, routines. So, for example, Virgo, that might be a great time to set a new health routine, maybe a new routine for your finances, a new budget, or something within your home, maybe a new cleaning schedule. I just love being able to set an intention that is going to correlate with the zodiac sign and then learn how to step into the being and the doing of the lunar cycle that I'm in. And so, how do you do this? Well, to be honest, guys, that's why I created the zodiac calendar that I did. So I just want to show you guys it a little bit for, especially if you're on the YouTube. So I give you ideas and themes for every single zodiac phase. And then I also am going to give you guys, as you can see here, and I'm going to make a very similar one to this year. I'm going to update it a little bit, add more information, but I create a space for you to track your intentions throughout the year so you can see what came to fruition, what didn't. Like, what was my January intention? What was my February intention? What was my March intention? Things along those lines, right? And then what I love even like the most about this calendar is what I did is it's basically just like a calendar you can put on your desk, right? It's a calendar you can put on your desk, but you can see which phase of the moon that the moon is in. And I, of course, I created a key so you know what the symbols represent. You can see where it's a full moon versus the new moon versus like a crescent moon, right? And so I love that the amount of times I've looked at my calendar and I'm like, why am I feeling so blah today? I'm like, oh, because I'm in a being phase. I'm in a yin phase right now. So that means I need to maybe take some time to focus on myself. I need to maybe, instead of going and doing that really intense workout at the gym, maybe I go and do some yoga instead. And so I believe that the moon is a very, very powerful tool for manifestation because it basically gives you a guide of when do I take action for my manifestation? When do I sit back and I reflect on my intention? When do I go and put extra energy into the intention? When do I go and just really reflect? When do I need to adjust? And what I also love is at the new moon, we set the intention, but at the full moon, you can also celebrate it or maybe release and redirect if you're realizing I set an intention that just really is not feeling in alignment with me anymore. So, as you guys know on this podcast, I talk a ton about living in alignment and how important that is. And there's a ton of different tools that you can use to help you live in alignment. And it's hard for me to explain it, but I really feel like for me personally, living in alignment with the lunar cycles has been extremely powerful for me to live in alignment and it's helped me to manifest. So you're like, okay, well, bitch, give me some fucking examples. Like, you say you manifested all this shit. Like, what are you talking about? And sometimes it takes a little bit for it to come to fruition, right? Like, it's not necessarily going to happen overnight or happen within the lunar cycle, but it may set the stage. So, right before I met Kyle, like, I believe it was a month or two before I met Kyle, I set the intention, not necessarily for a boyfriend, but I had set the intention of, I want to be the version of myself that I need to be to meet the right person. I want to become the best version of Erika so that I am ready for the right partner for me, right? Because as much as like, oh, I want to manifest my dream guy. Yeah, that could like, yeah, you could do that. But at the same time, it's a lot about are you being the person you need to be with your dream person? Because you can meet the right person, but what if like you are not ready for it? You know what I'm saying? And so I set that intention, and it was, I believe, the next month that I met Kyle, and we basically were attached at the hip right away. And it's been amazing ever since, right? Or, like I said, that money example, or that same month, I also had a change to my living situation. Like, I had so many money manifestations that month. It was kind of crazy. And I'm trying to think of a couple other ones. There have been so many, it's kind of like too hard to count. But I do remember I was setting an intention around my career, and that was about the same time that I ended up switching career fields, getting a new job that I absolutely love and I absolutely adore. And let me tell you, I feel like my manifestations are way more powerful when I follow this practice. And there's been a couple months, like there's been periods of time where I'm not as intentionally sitting with my practice every single day. And I've noticed a difference. And you're like, okay, well, this is a bit overwhelming. How am I going to do it? Well, guys, if you are interested, I did create a 2024 calendar that is going to help you harness the power of the moon every single day. So, like I said, I give you a calendar that shows you what moon phase that we are in. So as you can see whether or not you're in a full moon or if you're in a crescent moon. But then I also created a space where you can write down what your intentions are, where you can get ideas on what the theme should be for your intention. I also do a page teaching you how to set the intention. I give you the step-by-step process I do. I show the different zodiac signs and a little bit about each one of them. I share with you the 8 different moon phases and a little bit about them as well. And I'm just so dang excited because there is so much you can do when you harness the power of the waxing versus the waning, the yin versus the yang. I've done another episode about this that I think went into a bit more detail than today's if you'd like to take a listen. If you are wanting to support me and the Get Empowered podcast, one of the best ways you can do that is to get your own 2024 lunar calendar. Obviously, I am showing you guys the 2023 version, but the 2024 version is going to be live at the time of the release of this recording, and I'm going to have a Black Friday sale for the first few days, and I'm so excited for you guys. So I do a digital download, so you can just purchase it on my website. I'll put the link in the bio. You can download it. You can choose whether to just keep it on your computer. You can choose. Not everyone likes a physical calendar. That's why I didn't make it a physical calendar, but you can choose to print it into a calendar. There are so many different ways you can do that easily. And that's what I chose to do just because I like to physically see it. I keep this near my desk. So when I'm going through something, I can just flip it. Let's say, I have it open to August right now because that's just the page I turn to, and be like, okay, what phase am I in right now? What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Why am I feeling this way or that way? And then I'll be like, oh, it's because it's a waning phase or it's a waxing phase or we're in a yin energy or a yang energy. And you can just learn so much and learn how to live in alignment with the moon and just feel more aligned in your soul every single day. It has just been such a game changer for me on so many levels. And I really believe this is like when my manifestations really started to come to fruition even more. So if you are looking for a practical way to learn how to manifest in 2024, I highly recommend getting the digital download and incorporating this into your practice. And if you have more individual questions, please let me know. Like, you having access to this calendar, like once you purchase the calendar, like seriously, just DM me, message me, be like, I don't really understand this or that, or can you help me with this? Absolutely. I'm more than willing. I want to make sure you guys are able to utilize this tool to your fullest extent. So now that we chat about that, how the moon is such a powerful tool, let's dive in and see what the chakra cards are saying for this week. Okay, y'all. Guys, I think the universe is trying to tell us something because we got the same card as last time. This literally fell out of the deck, which is always a sign that the universe is like, hey, bitches, pay attention. So we got the soul healing card, which is connected to the soul star chakra. So if you have a clear quartz crystal and you're a crystal girly like I am, take a hold of your clear quartz crystal, maybe manifest with it, maybe meditate with it, maybe do some affirmations with it, or just keep it in your general presence. And this card is focused on, hey, guess what? Soul healing is at present. And I know for me, like, I've already healed so much, even just since my engagement. And it sounds so freaking silly, but it has been such a healing and beautiful process for me because honestly, I never thought I was worthy of love. And even though I knew Kyle loved me, this was such a physical act where it just helped me see it even more than I already had. Not that, of course, I already knew he loved me, but it just made me just feel just even more lovable. And I don't know, that might sound corny and you're probably like, bitch, get it together. But soul healing is at hand for you too. So what might this look like? This may be that you need to think about, what do I need to release in order to let new things in? Are there things in my life that have been coming into my circle to help me learn more about myself, to help me to see myself in a new way, in a new light? And that's kind of what I mean with this engagement. Like, I'm just seeing myself in a different light that I hadn't seen before. And it's been really beautiful and so incredibly healing. Now, for soul healing, though, you got to make sure that you are letting go of the things that are no longer serving you so you can make room for the new to come in, right? And so maybe you're going through a hard time, maybe you're not, but this is just your reminder that soul healing is powerful and is at hand. So maybe take some time to meditate, take some time to be a part of a spiritual community. If church is your thing, or maybe like a full moon or new moon circle, something along those lines, a course, a book, a podcast, maybe this one, maybe another one. This is a great tool that you can use to help you to just tap more into the divine and know that soul healing is at hand, but that the universe has your back. Okay. So the universe wants to help you heal. Your guides want to help you heal. Your soul family, all these people in your life want to help you heal. And the universe is going to help guide you. So also take a listen to what is it that you are being shown? What is it that you are seeing? What is coming up in your life that you may need to address. Because with soul healing, it can be a very beautiful time, but at times it can be challenging. If there's things you need to let go of, if there are, ways of doing or being or acting that are no longer serving you, it may also feel like a time of deconstruction and then reconstruction. So do not get intimidated by that. It is okay. That happens to the best of us. And I just am so grateful for you guys. Just know that we are on this journey of healing our souls together. And I know it's not just for me. I know this is for all of us. So take some time. If you have a clear quartz crystal, use it. I highly recommend working with crystals. If you want a whole crystals episode, please let me know. I've been thinking about doing it. I just didn't know if anyone would give a shit, to be quite honest. But I'm obsessed, obviously, just like I'm obsessed with the moon. And guys, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this week's episode. I wish I could fully express how much using the moon to manifest has changed my life, but it has changed me not only in physical ways. Like, manifestation isn't only the physical things. Like, I joke, like, oh, I manifested my engagement. I manifested the perfect ring and the perfect man and blah, blah, blah. And yes, like, I do believe I manifested all those things, but I also manifested so much healing, which is not necessarily physically seen by the eye, right? That's more internal. And that's, again, what I love about the moon magic practice, because when you're in these yin phases and these waning phases, that's going to be more of a being energy. That's going to be more reflection and hindsight and like really embodying the things that we're learning, right? So I also love the moon practice because it is just such an embodying practice. And again, I go more into the details in my calendar. I also have a more detailed episode from last year. I just didn't want to have it be completely repetitive, to be quite honest. So I will put that in the show notes if it's something you're looking for. And guys, this is episode 90. We are getting close to 100. Holy shit. We're going to have to do something cool for episode 100. I don't know about y'all, but I am just in disbelief. So thank you guys so much for your constant support. Do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to like and to follow and to share. And find me on social media. If you're not connected with me on social media, find me on TikTok, find me on Instagram. I'm probably the most active on Instagram. And I just love you guys all so, so much. It means the world to me. I already know a handful of you guys got my calendar last year. Thank you so much for that. If you are choosing to invest in a calendar for this year, it means the world to me. It means your constant support. And honestly, like, this is how I'm able to do the podcast. Like, I kind of do this for fun. And so any support you guys have, I so appreciate. You mean the world to me. And do not forget to stay empowered. This practice is such an empowering practice because it helps you to become more in tune with yourself. And that is the power of the moon. It's not just looking up at the sky and seeing something pretty. This moon course, this moon practice, this moon manifesting practice helps you to really touch in and to embody the life that you want to create. And I think that's why it is so dang powerful. So thank you so much for listening, and do not forget to stay empowered. I will see you guys next week. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, I hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Give some gratitude. That's what we do around here. And thank you guys so much. I'll talk to you later. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you for taking the time to be a part of our Get Empowered community. Don't forget to check the show notes for the resources I shared in today's episode, and of course, to connect with me on social. You can find all of our offers and community links at empoweredwitherika.com. I always love hearing from you, so don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe, and tag me with your biggest takeaways from today's episode. Let me know what you loved and what you want to hear more about, and share it with someone who you think would love it too. I cannot wait to share more with you. I'll see you next week, and don't forget to stay empowered.